Well, we know who the top choice is to win this U.S. Open. That would be Scottie Scheffler, plus 300. Nobody else has shorter than 10-1 odds. Corey Connors, by the way, has the shortest odds among Canadians at 90-1, while the defending champ Wyndham Clark sits at 80-1. Let's get you back now to Adam Scully.
Alongside Graham DeLaet and Bob Weeks, guys, this is going to be a very different looking U.S. Open this week at Pinehurst. If you missed the fairway, none of that thick rough, there's natural areas, there's wire grass. What kind of challenge will this be for the players?
It's going to be a really tough test. I mean, anything under par is going to be extremely good. I mean, just getting the ball in the fairway is the most important thing right out of the gates, because some of this wiry fescue, you can advance it up to the green, but almost impossible to get it close enough to have any chance of birdie. Coming into these greens, the greens are much smaller than their actual square footage, because there's so many runoffs. If they continue to firm up, which I'm sure that they will, those targets become smaller and smaller, and it's all about precision iron play. And then once you get up to those greens, if you are in those runoff areas, so difficult sometimes to get up and down, because they've got those up and then down type of, up and over type of shots, and extremely difficult test.
This is so different than what we're used to seeing at the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open is usually with that foot-long grass that's 2 feet off the fairway, and the greens that are sort of more flat and hard pan. This is very different, and I like it. I think it's going to create a lot of different kinds of shots. We're going to see different strategies from some of these players, both off the tee and into the greens, but especially on those greens. There are going to be so many different kinds of clubs used to get them out of those little runoff areas, wedges and long irons and hybrids and things, to try and find the right method to get the ball close to the hole.
And even Tiger said earlier today in his press conference that he's been practicing chipping with a 4-iron even around the green. So really looking forward to seeing the players and their creativity this week. Now, Graham, you played in the 2014 U.S. Open here at Pinehurst. What do you remember most about that experience?
In all honesty, I remember being scared, a lot, having a lot of shots that were just there's a lot of fearful, and you're playing defensive here, and walking around today, it's you have to somehow choose a passive target but still have an aggressive golf swing, because once you start guiding it around this place, you get in a lot of trouble. It is Bermuda now around these greens and on the greens, which it wasn't back then, so now there's grain on these runoffs, which make that even actually more difficult.
I think for a lot of these players, it's having the aggressiveness you can off the tee, but also being defensively going into some of those greens. But if you get too defensive, or if you get too aggressive on either end, you can pay the price.
Yeah, and a lot of times, honestly, better missing the green and having an uphill chip than getting on the green and having a really treacherous putt sometimes. So it's all about ball placement and just being in total control.
Well, guys, how challenging will these greens be? Wyndham Clark, the defending champion, on Monday said these greens, well, they're already borderline.
That sounds like a lot of fun. 7 Canadians will be in the field this week, including Adam Hadwin, after a solo third-place finish at the Memorial this past weekend. Again, first-round coverage begins bright and early Thursday morning.